Hi, everybody. Please join. I hope most of you are able to go. Apparently, my webmaster did it all wrong and set me up wrong. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes so more of you can come in. Let me see if I need light. No, that's too much. Good. You're all adding up. We're starting over. Well, my son Lennon is the one who helped me after realizing that it's all set wrong and trying everything. So here we are. I'm going to wait because there were 37 of you. So I'm going to wait for more of you to be on. Almost everyone is coming on. We're at 28. I hope people are seeing the link. All right, maybe 7 have given up, so maybe we should start. So, hi everybody, it's my first time and I paid actually a lot of money to make this class happen. I paid a webmaster to set me up. I should have had my son set me up. But that's, he set it up wrong. So let's start and not waste any more time. Please don't all of you write questions at the same time because then it strolls very fast and I can't see one question. So I'm going to speak for a few minutes and just give ideas what to ask about. So this is not an opportunity to have a private session in front of a group. You need to ask questions that are useful for everybody and that are one sentence question and couple of sentences answer. Well, I'm bad at couple of sentences, but we'll do my best. And the first thing for everyone here is no matter the answer, don't feel guilty when you discover, oh, I've done it wrong. Human beings are very, very pliable and miraculously resilient. So the important thing is to stay connected with your children and to let them be self-directed and rooted in themselves. And then they can handle all your failures, all your humanity. So no guilt necessary when we discover, oh, well, I've done it all wrong, and there's no one way anyway. Human beings have been grown with wrong parents for millions of years. So, and it's become more complicated the more society is complicated. So I'll present few ideas for questions, and then maybe we'll say, if you have a question about this idea, type it now so that it's not scrolling and I can't find your question. I think a good subject would be, I speak a lot about raising ordinary people. So the 60s idea that's still flourishing of telling children that they're unique and spatial and giving them all the praise in the world and and giving them the feeling that they're the only one of their kind and idealizing themselves is not emotionally healthy. I'd rather that people grow up thinking they're ordinary people, and we are all ordinary or all miracles. Another way to look at it, but it's all of us. So it's important for a child to feel like they're part of society in which everybody is a miracle, not him being spatial or her being spatial. Um, the other subjects, I'll go brief, I'll spend maybe 5 minutes here. Dancing in the rain rather than fighting. You can cover some COVID questions on this one, but just emotional resilience, not teaching children to be afraid all the way from the cold, from discomfort, or from emotions, or from experiences, or from death. Being present in funerals rather than being afraid that they can't handle it, being present in birth giving, even if something goes wrong, a child can handle it if we can handle it and we are connected and self-expression is open. Raising children who don't need approval. So again, without praise, without dependency on what other people think of them. How to avoid anxiety, depression as they grow older. And I see anxiety already in young children these days. So how to avoid that connects to what I said before. How to protect children from being molested later on has to do with being rooted in yourself. They don't have to kiss grandma goodbye. They don't have to do anything physical with their body against their own will. We can ask questions about siblings. They don't have to get along. It's fine to be human and to be like us and have difficulty getting along. And we need to set up things so that they can play either together if it works or not together. And generally, how not to shape children into who we think they should be, but discovering who they are, which is what it's all about, discovering and allowing that to flourish. So when we say like the child shouldn't talk back, it's just like, here's something to say back. So allow it. I hate you, mom. Tell me more about it. I call it Naomi Aldort magic words, or not please and thank you, but tell me more about it. How does it feel? What's the worst of it? So, okay, I don't think we need more. We also, and 45 minutes later. So I'll put my glasses on so I can read. I'll have to move the camera so I can read the questions. So, what books do you recommend to talk to kids about sex? Oh, I'll show you my book. I have a great one. Where is it? And it does exist in English. I have it in Hebrew, but it's a beautiful illustration book. It says a baby was born, or a baby came to the world. And never mind the language here. I want you to see the pictures and what it shows. It shows, mommy and daddy loving each other. And it may be hard to get, but I've seen it online. It actually shows mommy and daddy naked, and mommy and daddy hugging each other, and daddy's getting erection, and it says that. And then it shows them making love. And actually the penis going in. And it continues, and at the end is not so good because they show the baby in the mother, but I wouldn't show the birth itself to a child. You can take that page off or whatever, because, it's not that bad actually. No, it's fine. It's just that it shows it with a doctor. So those of you who are doing home birth like me may want to say you don't need the doctor. You can just do it at home. Uh, anyway, so that's the book I recommend. That's what the picture looked like, and I think the name in English is it's originally in a Swedish language, I think, Danish or Swedish, I don't remember. Um, but that would be my recommendation. But even without a book, you can make your own drawings. You can describe it. You can speak about sex openly and to the question when, as soon as they ask, and how much, as much as they ask. So you don't have to add a whole lot of information, but you can say when mommy and daddy make love, they love each other, they kiss, and the penis goes in, and a sperm goes in and connects with mommy's egg, and a baby grows in the belly. That's it. It's very simple. And a child does not have a concept or a frame of reference to think that something is weird or uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, they're not. There are tribal societies where sex is done visibly in front of children. They don't have a concept to think that anything is unusual. It's like they grow up and whatever they see is life. That's just fine. All right. So let's see. What about tearing my children? What? Wait a minute. What about tearing books? My children love books, but they tear them often, their favorite ones. Okay, please don't write any more questions right now. It'll slide up and I won't see them. So I want to do one at a time. So I'll tell you when there's room, or you can see it. So give your child a lot of magazines to tear and tell them not to tear it. And then they'll tear those. But if they tear, I don't know what age, maybe you can write down what the age of the child that tear the books, their favorite ones. Can this person, Angelina, can you write what age your child is or children? So if it's very young children, buy books that cannot be torn. Otherwise, I would suspect that they have a need to do that, and if they're older, and I would ask them why they're tearing it, what they want to do with it. Do they want to glue it back? One of my children used to cut toys, 2.5 and 5.5, and both of them are tearing them. Oh, they have special need. Okay, so we should treat that as very little. So give them magazines, and in terms of books that they like, see if you can find those hard ones that don't easily tear. Otherwise, if they really want these ones and they don't come in hard or in plastic, then let them tear it. I mean, it's just yeah, for the 2.5 years old, it's pretty normal. And if the 5 is special need, then I would say it's the same as for the 2.5-year-old. Just get books that are not terrible, or make peace with it, or glue it back together. It can be a job with tape to put it together, to give them the idea that you want it to be together. But give them a lot of magazines to tear. Okay, let me see. No new questions yet. Why can't my kids stand crying tears? Doesn't want to cry. Again, if you can, in each your question, give me the age, that would be great. So I'm at Oli K. Why can't my kids stand crying? Please don't write more questions, because I'm going to lose the questions. They're disappearing. So usually a child can't stand crying if we give them the message that crying is bad. And we give that message already to babies by constantly jiggling something, putting them on the boob the moment they cry, and giving compensation. Here, have this. Don't cry, don't cry. Or even if we don't use the words don't cry, we just give them. Okay, Oli says it's a 3.5 years old. Yeah, so that's probably related to whatever your 3.5 years old was exposed to so far in terms of attitude to crying. So cry yourself. Make sure your both of you and your husband, your spouse, partner, are free crying. And then, okay, I'm losing the questions. Please do not write more anything right now. uh, yeah. So just make sure that crying is positive, appreciated. Give a hug, say it's all right to cry. And then if they still hold the tears down, tell him it looks like you're sad and you need to cry. I'll hold you and you can cry. And hopefully he'll get back to it. Okay, let me go on. Can a child have too much power or control? Yes, absolutely. The question before that, so I'm at Diane, and the question before that, I assume was about crying because I don't see it anymore. The thing about power is to distinguish between power over himself or herself and power over you. Power over you or over another person is always too much power. None of us should have power over other people. Whether it's changing my spouse to be what I want, or making them do, or making children do something because I want them to do it, you don't want to give them that kind of power. They take it on the other way. Mommy, I want you to wear the red hat. Mommy, I want you to do this. Mommy, I want you to do that. Daddy, don't do that. Or a child who thinks that the whole family plan is up to him. No, I don't want to go to the supermarket when you have no food and you have to take him because he can't be left alone. Or the whole family is going on an outing with grandparents and cousins or whatever it is. It's like, no, we're going. You give them power over other people and other circumstances, and they don't distinguish. They learn to think that who they are runs the world, and that is too much power. It's very damaging to them because then they feel very helpless when it doesn't work, and eventually, of course, it doesn't work. You can't just have the whole family run by King Rory or King Thea, Queen Thea. So that's where we need to make it very clear. The child should be free and in power of what is done with himself, with his own body, within relationship to other people and what works for other people. Okay, now I have Kim Gensi. Is it okay to react when baby is violent to me, to express myself like, ouch, that hurts me, like show, okay, or just explain calmly? Um, Again, the age of the baby are, if he bites your boob while you're breastfeeding, take off the boob. So again, stop writing questions. Now I don't see anymore the question that I'm answering now. Well, I still see that, but there's no room for another. So being clear, but not scary. So saying that hurts is fine, but it's the action. They don't so much grasp your words as much as your action. So if my toddler bites while breastfeeding, I say, oh, that, or I can say that hurts, or just, oh, and I take and open the mouth of the boob and take him off. Would you still like to breastfeed? Then do it gently, and then I put them back on. But if they hit you or bite you, that absolutely should not happen. If it happens, it's because the first time it happened, it didn't really hurt, so you treated it like a joke. Or say, oh, no, let's do something else, or whatever you've done. They need a clear message the first time. The first time they hit or bite, they don't mean badly, but you say, oh, you want to bang on something. Here, I'll give you something to bang on. And you give them that answer again and again if they repeat. If you do it right, there won't be a repeat. There won't be more than second or third time at the most. And they get the message. You want to bite something, here is something you can bite on. And then they get it. And you're physical. You remove them, you give them the something to hit, to bang on. I don't even like to teach them the word hit. I just tell them, oh, you want to bang on something. Here is a drum. Here is a bag. Here is a pillow. Here is the couch. Here you can go to a plumber store or storage and get leftovers of plumbing insulation pipes. They make a lot of noise for heating and they don't hurt. And it's really nice. They can heat things or pillows or whatever. And if coincidentally it touches somebody, it doesn't hurt. Okay, so I am at Boriana Savova. So hopefully I didn't miss anything before, but please don't write another question because I want to see Boriana's question. Learning a musical instrument at a high level generally involves long hours of practice. How do you build a child's stamina for such hard work without nagging and any form of pressure? Well, I have the personal experience, so I'll answer a little more at length. So my 2 out of 3 musical children who took lessons, first of all, when they asked for lessons, I didn't look for teachers right away. I waited for them to nag a few times, like they nag for a candy or a toy. So when each day they ask, well, did you call around to ask about a good cello teacher, a good violin teacher? And say, oh, no, I forgot. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I will. The next day, so Mom, did you? Oh, I still forgot. I'm so sorry. And, I went for 3, 4 days this way. And since they kept nagging, I got the teachers. But once I found the teachers and we started lessons, I told them the rules. So freedom doesn't mean you're free inside a structure that you chose. You are free to choose it. So I told them you can quit lessons anytime you want. But as long as you take the lessons, you can also change teachers. You can tell me, I need a different teacher. That's fine. And we'll go and search for a different teacher. We did it every 2 years because my kids were prodigal and advanced so fast that at least one of them needed new teachers all the time. So that's fine too. But one of them quit a lot. Quit, went back to it, quit, went back to it. That's fine. Didn't practice that much. That wasn't his thing. And then I told them, not only you can quit, but as long as you take the lessons, it's your responsibility. My responsibility is to take you there, to pay, and to write notes at the lesson to save time and so that it's all written, although they hardly ever needed my notes, but I had it there. And I mean, until a certain age, at some point, of course, I didn't stay at the lessons later on. But as long as I did that their job is to practice daily in a way that they're ready for the lesson. Ready for the lesson means the teacher is pleased and forwards, whether more deeper into that piece or giving them new pieces. So they knew the rules. That doesn't mean it was always easy. The one who wanted to practice and wanted to become professional and who is now assistant principal cellist of the Boston Symphony Orchestra definitely had hard times sometimes. And I would ask him, do you want me to nag you? And sometimes he said, I want you to remind me. And sometimes he practiced very late at night. And I asked him, would you like me to remind you to do it earlier? So there were some struggles here and there, but I never did the tiger mother type of absolutely insisting that he practices. But I think I may have overdone sometimes the sense. What I'm learning from my son now is the sense of expectation for him to be able to prepare and do things. And the teachers do a lot of that too. It's really between the teacher and the student. And I would say to the teacher, please, it's between you and them. I don't want to be the one in between. That would be what I recommend now. But my son's teacher, pushed him to, or encouraged to do competitions, and he won a lot of them, and recitals, but he wanted to do a recital all by himself at age 7 on piano and cello. So it was his motivation, and he wanted to practice. So for the most part, I would say it's not your job, but you can also create an open conversation about what it is, and be all right with a child quitting, or a child not becoming a professional musician, even if they have the talent. Maybe they come back to it later. I think I think Rubinstein started lessons at age 27. I may be wrong, but I think that's what I was told long ago. So, okay, next one. Um, how do you help them handle bad behavior from friends? Um, Beautiful question. Oh, I love this one. So, first, I want to say what we usually do that we shouldn't do, which is where the question comes from. So, my guess is that your question comes from how do we save them from the pain? My answer is let them have the pain. That's where resilience comes from. So, when I say dance in the rain, doesn't mean I should play with this friend again. There is a response. You want to empower them to decide what it is they want to do about this friend. It's like, okay, you're not enjoying playing with Elena. Uh, so do you want to not get together again? But also get into some of the details. I find that many times a child says they can't get along with this child, and it's really their responsibility. They're the one who disturbed, they're the one who insisted on something. So if you do kind of the work with them, the work of Byron Katie type, and say, is it true that she's always your friend Elena always does this? Well, yeah, I sometimes also grab things from her or do this or that. So, oh, I see. So how would it be? You don't have to do it the precise way of the work. So if you didn't have this idea that she shouldn't do it because you're doing something similar, etc., how would you do it? Or what's really happening? Which is, so what is true? What's the turnaround? You say, well, I guess I'm disturbing, or she needs to do that. She should do that because she needs to do that because she likes to play this way or that way. Okay, so would you like to get together with her? And then how would you do it with what you know now? So, oh, yeah, I guess we could play a different game and not that one. I think that one doesn't work, or whatever. So you can have a conversation about the content if you think there is a chance and the child can learn something. But if the other child actually calls them name and hurts them, etc., then teach them not to be a doormat. It's like, okay, this person doesn't seem to like you, which is fine. I love you. They don't like you. They seem to think that you are somebody to just call names. So would you like to play with Rory instead, or with me? Or let's say he comes out of the playroom and say, so and so is mistreating me. Don't go into the room to fix it, but say, okay, what would you like to do instead? And sometimes the children come out themselves and tell you what happened, and you just listen. And they usually come up with their own solutions. But if not, you want to empower the child to be at peace with reality. Other children will not always treat you well. You choose to play with them or not to play with them. We don't have to invite them over again. Now, it's different when it's family and when it's brothers, etc., but I still lead to the same place. If siblings don't get along, don't put them together alone to play with each other. So it's like, okay, it's not fun to play with Thea. So Thea, why don't you come and practice your instrument or do this, or I can read you a book, and help them to have their privacy or their time with their friend without little sister bothering them. and then calling them name and trying to hurt them because they don't play with her. So look at what is right about what they need and provide that. But let them face reality and then find a resolution with them or your solution in a way that's powerful. All right. Um, okay, there's something from Ollie. I mean, when he hears a cry from another child, he can't stand it. So going back to the question, but that's all right. I would just validate the feeling. Um, it probably comes from the same source. So he has empathy, and he is not comfortable when somebody else cries. So you want to help him to feel comfortable when somebody else cries. So when you cry, say it's all right. It makes me feel better. Crying is good. This child will feel better after a while. Right now, he's scraped his knee or he's upset about this or that, and we can help them cry and so that the pain comes out. So he can see it. It's the same as going to the bathroom. You have to get it out. You have to get the pain out. So it's the same thing about another child crying. Uh, Now, is it okay to react when a kid is violent to me to express myself like, ouch, that hurts me? We did that one. Yeah, that's the one I said, just remove him calmly, um, but clearly, so he doesn't do it again. So give alternative, bang on something, bite something else. But also, if a child hits you because they're angry at you, that tells you that they're not feeling free to express, if it's a verbal child, to express how they feel or to cry. So I'd rather a child cries or tells you, I hate you, and you ask them, what do you hate the most? Tell me more. Tell me more. What else about that? What was the worst about that? Keep asking questions until they empty all their feelings and actually connect with you and feel that it's safe to tell you bad things about you. Hey, all of you, get used to children telling you bad things about you. They're your teachers. Say thank you. Find the truth in what they're saying. Not only it's not going to stop, it's going to get worse when they're grown-ups. What do you think adult grown-ups do? Haven't you told your parents how wrong they were as parents, or are the wrong they are now as grandparents? Don't you want to have the strength to hear it? And the way you have the strength to hear it is by saying, well, thank you. Tell me more. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can find that. That's true about me. That is very powerful. And it also teaches them not to be afraid of someone else criticizing them, which is the question from before about somebody calling you bad names. There is another side to it. Well, is it true? And I like to teach a group game. You can sit as a family and throw pillows at each other. And you throw a pillow at someone and say, you're stinky. And their job is to always say the same thing. Thank you. And then, yes, I can find it. And give an example. When I was in the bathroom, I was farting and pooping and I was stinky. Or the other day, I was running, a teenager maybe, when they have their sweat buds really strong. I was running and playing sports. Boy, did I smell. Or when I was sick, I vomited. And you play that with the adults first so that they can see the humor and they can see the power of saying, yes, I am. Because our culture is almost automatically, when somebody criticizes, no, I'm not. Teach your children, yes, I am. Just like, tell me more what you are hating about me. Yucky mommy, she didn't let you do this or do that. You must have felt bad. Tell me how you felt. So those are ways to make a child resilient and able and not easily triggered by anything. Able to see, oh, it's true. Yeah, I was rude. Rather than, oh, don't call him rude. Well, maybe he should. You were rude. I'm not saying to encourage children to call each other names, but once it happened, to look at it, to converse about it, to let the child, to help them tell each other, what do you see rude about him? Tell him more. Same thing in siblings when they're old enough, of course. Okay. And Ollie adds, how do you, wait. Okay. Don't write more so it doesn't move. Okay, how do I reverse that? About a kid is hitting you, you just start from scratch. You just tell them, I was wrong. You're used to that if I don't give you something, you come and bang on me. Not going to do that anymore. And then if you bang hard enough, I give you what you want. I'm not going to do that anymore. Banging is you want to say something to me. I'm going to listen. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to listen. You may have to hold him backwards so he doesn't kick you. And they get it faster than you do. You will have harder time changing your habit than your child learning if you're actually clear. Okay. Let's see. I'm skipping you, Ollie. Wait, let me see, though. It could be useful because I'm trying to let new people ask questions. But Ollie adds here, he starts to be aggressive when he feels he wants to cry and wants to hit or push me away when I want to take him to my arm or want to say, oh, it hurts, when he fell from his bike. Okay, so children are easily insulted by being told what they feel. So as a transition, so he already is used to this. So you may have to let him do what he's doing, just give him something else to bang on. And when he's more calm, ask him, tell me more about how you felt when you fell. But other than that, doing what you're doing, offering a hug, sometimes they don't want it, especially if they're in the habit that they want to be angry and they want to shove the crying away. So it's more about teaching them that crying is all right. It's more about opening the door than about what to do about the former closed door. Keep opening it. Keep opening. Cry yourself. Tell your spouse to cry in front of the child. When another child cries in the playground, say it's so good they cry because it gets out of the system. And when they cry, the parent knows better what they need. So you just keep doing that. Maybe sometimes just a gentle touch can make a difference, or a validating of the feeling. If you validate the facts rather than it hurts, you didn't want to fall right now, or you wanted to have this, or you wanted to have that. And you just have to experiment. I mean, in a private session, I can go through more details where you can tell me exactly what happens, and I can give you more specific to your child examples. Okay, I'm moving to Merle. Merle, so sorry. Could you please repeat the title of the book about talking about sex? I'm not sure what the title is in English. And I forget now myself. In the language I was showing it, it's called A Child is Born. So try that, or A Child Comes to the World. Try variations on those and see. Can you talk? This is Cecile. Can you talk about cooperation with toddler? You mean the toddler cooperating with you, or you cooperating with the toddler? So I'll address both. Generally, with a toddler, you are the one cooperating because they have no idea what's going on. You're the leader, and you're seeing and noticing what the need is, what is upset about, what nap time, or going out, or needing to move a lot, or needing to scream, or needing to cry, and you want to cooperate with that. You want to say yes and support whatever outlet it needs to be spilled, or whatever food needs to be made, or etc. Um, as far as making a toddler cooperate, it's modeling and physicality and no testing. So don't have, if you don't want him to break dishes, don't have any dishes reachable. So you want to child-proof the house. You put in the lower cabinet plastic dishes, metal pots, stuff that he can't get out, and enjoy himself and feel that there is a cabinet he can open and get into. In terms of books, don't have him cooperate in not taking the book out of the shelf and tearing them, but have him have the lower shelves have a lot of magazines that you don't mind if he tears, or old books that you were going to throw away anyway. So make life a yes for him, that a lot of things can be done, and make the no, he can't run into the street. And that's how you know how to treat a real no. It has to be a real danger. Don't say no for stuff that, what's the big deal? For example, a lot of parents say no for painting on the wall. What is it with us that's so holy about walls having to be white or plain color? What's the big deal? They painted on caves all the way through history. It's natural for a child to want to paint on walls. If it's so important to you that he doesn't or she doesn't, maybe give a big easel, or then they still choose the wall, by the way. Or put paper on the walls, or just be prepared to repaint it in 2 years when they're grown enough to not do that. But with our children, we had a giant playroom, and we told them they can paint on the wall as much as they want and hang stuff and put nails and Play-Doh, whatever they want on the walls, but not in the living room. But the living room didn't have much walls in our case, because we live we have view, and we have lots and lots of windows. It was mostly glass. Anyway, so you get cooperation by cooperating with the toddler for the most part, and by being physical the way you would be with the real thing. So they run into the street. What do? You grab him, right? He ran and he wants to jump off the boat into the water. What do? You grab him. He wants to hit someone and hurt something, or use a knife in a way that'll hurt somebody. You take it out of his hand. Say, oh, it's your mistake that you had it there. It's your mistake that he climbed on the ledge of the boat if you were there and present. And I know it's sometimes hard to always be so present. If you're on the street, hold his hand at all times so he won't run into the street. But how we react with the running child into the street is how to handle it. It's physical. They understand body language, being held, and then say, oh, mom was so scared. This is, the cars are coming, can hurt you. You can say that, but a toddler is not going to understand it that much, but he'll understand your fear, and he'll understand being picked up. One child hurting another child who is a toddler, you pick up the toddler and say to the older child, I see that he's disturbing you. Let me set you up here where you have, and I like to provide the older sibling with a gate rather than a closed door so that they're not alone. So we bought this huge round expanding, it's like a door gate, those wooden stuff that block a door, but it's like a pen on the floor, so it can be in the living room with everybody, but the baby can't crawl in and disturb. I don't know how I got into that kind of side. How to reverse a child who is in control. So whoever wrote a question before that, I don't see it anymore. So you know that. Don't write another question yet. How to reverse a child who is in control of the family. A child is age 7. It's really easy. You stop being controlled. When he says to you, we can't go to the supermarket now, I don't want to, you say, I guess I'll get the babysitter to stay with you because we have to go to the supermarket. Would you like to stay home, or would you like to come with us to the supermarket? And he makes a choice. Or I'll give you an example from a family intensive where I came to the people's homes, actually, in Europe. And we went to the beach together, and there was a 5 years old child who was very much controlling, 5 or 6, whatever she was. Um, and first she was controlling the going to the supermarket, which is why I come up with this idea. And we went anyway. And of course, each time we did these things, she learns, oh, it's not up to me. But we went to the beach once, and she all of a sudden, once we were at the beach already parked, she said she doesn't want to go. And since I already told the parents how to deal with it, the father right away said, that's fine, I'll stay with you. And the mother and the other children and me went to the beach. Well, within minutes, the father and the child joined. He said the child had a tantrum and peed on in the pants and did her thing that she always did in these situations to punish the parents. But he changed her clothes. Like I told them, always take extra clothes because of this particular way of tantruming. And then came to the water. And I think that one and one more such event was the last one. This particular child, within a few days, never did that again. Please stop writing questions. Please stop. I'm not seeing anymore the one that. Okay, so there's a question that I see half of now that I didn't answer yet. And can I scroll up? Yeah, I can. Okay. But let me see if I missed more. Okay, please don't write more. Yeah, I've missed a lot now. I have to scroll back up. I did Meryl. Cecile. Okay, Liz. How to help an 8-year-old, normally sweet, kind, and is not aggressive in regular days, but when he is too tired or frustrated, anything, push the button to hit mama, papa, and all. This is the kind of thing to do in a private session. I don't know that it'd be useful for everybody. It's a particular detail. The short answer that may work for you and you don't need the session is what I said before. Give him something to bang on. Absolutely don't let them hurt you. The idea that, oh, well, it doesn't really hurt, the child is little, that's a big mistake. Children have no idea. They just assume it's all right to do it. They don't have a frame of reference when they come into life. They learn everything from us. That's why we can have sex around them, and that's fine. And we can, we don't because we prefer not to, but it really wouldn't harm them. Or we can give birth, or we can go to a funeral. Everything is fine. But if they hit and we just kind of be playful about it, or just say, oh, don't hit, but they hit again because they think it's a power game. I say don't hit, and they hit, and I say don't hit, and they hit. And the conclusion is I'm playing with mommy, I'm playing with daddy. So don't do that. You need to be clear, not angry, but very clear by not giving them any compensation, not giving them what you didn't give them because they hit or screamed or whatever it is. Be generous. So say yes for most of the stuff you can give. If it's not dangerous, harmful, or hurting someone else, there is no reason to not be kind. But you have to be really, really clear. So if at bedtime he does that, then that's the time to change that direction. And but I could do more in a private session. Okay, I'm glad I discovered that this thing can move. I didn't realize that. Sorry, I accidentally sent it twice. Thank you very much, dear Naomi, for your answer. Okay, Diana, you're welcome. Diana, how to reverse a child who is... Okay, we did that. Okay, so I got the repeat there. Susanna, hi, Susanna. How to help teen express anger. They feel patronized when their feelings are validated and they shut down. I hear you're angry. I see you're angry. Okay. Never validate at any age with reading their feelings. I know that a lot of the validating books and communication workshop say, or even nonviolent communication, are you sad because da 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 da, or I see you're sad. Children are allergic to it, with rare exceptions, and teenagers are totally nuts about it. And they're right. You are patronizing them because you're being above in your ability to read their feelings. You're a patron. That's what patronizing is all about. So that's why, back to the magic words. If you want to tell me more, I'm here. Just be there. Maybe they don't. Maybe you just leave them alone. Would you like to be alone? But I'm here if you want to tell me how you feel, or you want to tell me anything about this. Maybe don't even use the word feel. If you want to tell me more about what happened and what you're going through, I'm here. And then when you listen, just listen. Don't validate feelings. If you validate facts. You wanted the banana to stay whole. You wanted to stay friends with so and so. As teenagers, a lot of upsets are around friendships. Somebody doesn't like me anymore, or called me this, or called me that. So yeah, I understand you really like your friend. But only after they told you. Only repeating what they say, but barely. Even that can be patronizing. So often with sensitive kids, I would just say, I hear you. Yeah, I totally get it. And you don't call it a name. You don't call a name instead you ask another question. Do you want to tell more? Or you ask a specific question when they tell you something. Maybe there is something specific you can ask. But don't say, I hear you're angry. That's insulting for adults or children. It's just, no, don't do it. Marta, how to deal with 8 years old who doesn't cry but got a lot of anger inside. I think we answered that already. You need to make crying a prized experience in your family, something we want, we look forward to, is useful, by other people doing it, seeing other people crying and pointing out how good it is, making it really safe. And also, when he expresses anger, ask the kind of question that will make him tell you his feelings. So, I'm angry that daddy didn't buy me this that I wanted, can be, tell me more about how much you wanted this toy. What were you going to do with it? And then he tells you that. He gets in touch with his feelings, whether or not he uses feeling words. You got him in touch. And then when he tells you, I was going to do this, I was going to do that, you can say, are you afraid that you'll never have one? Or are you, would you, I can't come up with another one right now, whatever. But you may come up, or the simple, tell me more. Tell me more. What is, the most painful about that? Or if you get it tomorrow, can you handle waiting till tomorrow? No, it's hard. Yeah. Okay. Tell me more about how hard waiting is. So whatever comes up, just change the conversation by asking the kind of questions that will take him to the emotion. Okay, and Ollie wrote, thank you very much. You helped me very much. Okay, thank you, Ollie, for expressing that. Boriana, how did your homeschool children get a high school diploma? My son is 10. At 10, we weren't even thinking about it. So that's the first thing to know. Not even thinking about it. Do whatever, they played whatever they want, except the musicians were practicing. That was their choice to have lessons. And like I talked about it before. But when they became 14, 15, when it became relevant, each person was different. It's whatever they chose. The oldest one didn't do anything until age 19. He said he wanted to go to college, so he did the GED tests and went to college. The second one went to the Running Start program at age 16 and already had a huge part of, or a third or so, credits by the time he went to college, and the fact that he already had credits, somehow it was like a continuation. So he went to community college, collected credits toward his BA, and then went. The youngest one, so it's different for each person. We never created a goal to go to college. But the youngest one, it was clear that he would go to music school. He took his music very seriously in the classical genre. And so at age 15, he already talked about going to this one school. He ended up going at age 16 to Curtis Institute of Music. He did the GED test, the SAT test, and honestly, I wasn't involved in that at all, because by then he knew to use the internet. He ordered the books he needed to learn. He knew to book himself for the tests. I just gave him the credit card to order the stuff. I actually never saw those books. I don't know where they're probably on the shelf somewhere in the playroom. And I drove him to the tests. We live on an island, so I had to stay. Some of them my husband did, some I did. Stay in a hotel overnight, do the tests, stay another day, do tests, and etc. And he passed all of them. And he studied for about 3 weeks. My oldest one took him 2 months. They never had math or anything like that before, so the older one said he got the book of math, and he said everything is explained, so he had no problem answering, and preparing himself. He said, I tried the end of the book, and the chapter explains how to resolve this type of problem. And so then I resolved the problem. So that was not a problem. The youngest one took about 3 weeks to study. He said that he's not an academic genius, that it's just not really that much. The SAT, he needed to study more. I'm not sure how long. And, he was older and able to do that he was 16. But anyway, that was their path. So it's not something you have to prepare at age 10. But there's nothing wrong preparing if the child wants to learn something. Just go in his direction. Like, these children were great. My oldest one was into science, nature, knowledge, history. He was reading a lot. And even politics, was interested in death, was interested really in humanities in a big, big way. And he educated himself in that. And I never asked him to educate himself in something else for the sake of being accepted to college. The second one was actually very good with math and numbers, but he mostly educated himself in doing extremely difficult, big puzzles, math problems, and music composition. He composed and played by ear and became a pianist composer, indeed. And he did go to college. He does have a BA, they all do, but actually wasn't very useful to him, other than maybe some contact with people or a good experience and learning some music. That was, I'm sure it was useful in some way, but not in terms of the kind of job he has. All right, let's see what next. So okay, where are we? Okay, don't write more, because then it takes me time to search. What is your advice on toilet training? Again, for my 5-year-old daughter with special need and 2-year-old son. Is it too early? Okay, so let me say something in general about toilet training. The only reason we need to train children out of diapers is because, whether special need or however, or normal child, is because we train them to do it in the diaper. So then we have to untrain them of what we train them. So I love elimination communication. And I don't love it on the extreme of never putting a diaper on. because I find that the moment they crawl around, your house becomes a mess because they don't want to interrupt, and they're not on your body, so you don't get the signals. So I like to advocate something in between, which is always and only use cotton diapers. Only and always cotton diapers. They have now all in one, waterproof on the outside, Velcro or those Tic Tacs on the, for closure. Actually easier to deal with than disposables. Much easier. You can also put them backward more easily if a child keeps taking them off, which I had to do with my last one. So when you give them disposable diapers, they don't actually feel the wetness and the discomfort, because those disposable diapers are miraculous. They absorb it. So the child learned this is the way to pee and poo, and I have no reason to stop it. It's really comfortable. They don't like to interrupt their play, to interrupt anything in order to go to a bathroom. What a nuisance. It's like I can do it right here, and it's comfortable and there's no problem. So when children do elimination communication, they're generally out of partial use of cotton diapers by age 1 to 1.5. So the phenomena of 2 years old still in diapers, let alone 4 years old, is a direct result, not to feel guilty about. We're all in this culture. We've all done, I did that mistake for a short while with my first, but changed it. That we learned that it's, we're devoted to convenience, convenience, convenience. And not only we're destroying the planet, but we are destroying the planet more because our children are in diapers for many more years than necessary. So just put them in cotton diapers, even though you did probably the disposable. Put them in cotton diapers, let them feel that it's wet, it's uncomfortable, and tell them that if it's uncomfortable, to tell you, I just pee, take it off. And then you give them a toilet that they like, either the climbing on the toilet with a ladder, red, nice color, whatever they like, or give them their own potty, whichever they prefer, whichever they get excited about, and tell them, if you feel like you want to pee, you could go here, and let them be in charge of that decision. Once they're in cotton diapers, they will feel it and they will learn their own body, which we prevented them from learning by putting them in disposable diapers. So I'm a huge advocate for cotton diapers. And, in my childhood, I remember my baby brother, the cotton diapers were really a big nuisance. I mean, basically it was receiving blankets, and you had to fold them and put them and pin them and put something on top of them, a waterproof thing. It was a huge thing. But those disposable diapers are no work. You take them off. If there is poop, you rinse them, and close the Velcros if they're Velcros, and put them in a bucket with vinegar and water. And every 3 days, spill the whole bucket into your wash machine. That's it. It's really no big deal. If you're in the first floor, by the way, we used to put our bucket outside the window. We didn't even have to deal with the vinegar smell. You just open the window and throw it into the bucket. Every few days, take the bucket into the wash. But close the Velcros because they'll stick to each other. All right, so that's about the diapers. I hope that helps. What do you think about parents' different approaches to raising children? That's a tough one. I would need specific and probably a private session. In principle, it depends how different they are. Children benefit from having relationship with each parent and learning that people are different. People are who they are. And mommy does this and daddy does this. And then you have your relationship. But if somebody is doing actual damage or kind of ruins what you do, then I find that couples who come and book themselves some sessions with me, we become clear and resolve things. There is a third answer here, and that is it's fine for one parent to be more in charge than the other, about the direction parenting is taking in a given household. Um, and it's the parent who spends the most time with the kids and the one who does all the reading, the sessions, whatever, who is really involved. So, like in my example, my husband totally recognized that I have more knowledge, but you don't have to be an expert because, I made mistakes too, no matter how expert I was. Maybe because of being an expert, I made some different mistakes. And we all are as expert as we can be in a given minute. And then the next minute we may learn, oh, we made a mistake. We need to do something else. So I'm not saying, like my husband, we discussed things together, we made decisions together. But if there was an issue, he knew that if I entered the room of kids who are struggling with each other, there is peace within 2 minutes and there's connection and everything is resolved. While he knows himself or knew himself to get angry and upset and his juices were burned. So he would say, Naomi, come do your magic. I'm going to end up screaming. And he would get out of the way. And having that kind of power and humility is not common, but a lot of couples who are taking sessions with me as couples, I have to tell you, young men now, more and more were raised already better. They're amazing. They're really amazing. So, and it's not always the man. Sometimes the man is the one raising the kids more than the woman. But generally, the woman has more knowledge, more time. And when they're little, she's breastfeeding, there is the biological connection and everything. So I invite usually the men to say, ask the woman what she learned. Learn it too. But if you don't learn it too, then, I would say the person who is learned should be more in charge of some big decisions on how you do things. Like in the area of food, let's say, or education, if deciding on homeschooling. If both people have to do some reading in order to decide together. Or in an area of food, you can't have one person bring candy home and Coca-Cola, and the other person is saying, I want to raise my children with organic, homemade, natural, non-processed food, because one person is really thwarting the plan of the other. So, like, this was partially my case. My husband I was the nuts about healthy food. My husband was a lot looser. So he had his candy away from home. And we even made sure that none of the wraps of bars or whatever he was eating in his car, that he would get rid of it in town and come home, and in the home, whatever he brought in the home were within the paradigm of what I, in a way, dictated. So I was more in control of food. So now they tell me probably too much. But yeah, we all make mistakes, like I said. But it really depends. It's nice when both parents are on the same page, but don't be afraid of differences as long as some of the basic direction, we know who is in charge. Okay. But that's a huge question, though. So I would say you're not going to get a full answer here. Okay. Miss Kido, how can we manage our emotions when we're challenged by a 3.5-month-old crying and screaming baby? How to build our own resilience you went, while building theirs, and avoid molding them in anger and sad individuals. Again, that's something I could work with you in a session one-on-one. But you need to work on yourself to accept the crying and to not see it as bad. Of course, you want to meet the need. If whatever the baby is crying for, you can give it to them, change their diaper, give them a boob, give them a walk with them, movement, put them in a snuggly. Always hold a 3.5 years old. There is no time that the 3.5 years old, most of them don't want to be put down. So Keep the physical contact, sleep with them on, as much as possible on the body with physical contact, with your presence being known to them. Don't put them in the bed and go out of the bedroom if they're going to wake up and cry. So if you do all these things, and one of my babies, I did all these things, and he was what they call colicky. Who knows what it is? He had a lot of crying to do. Maybe he was upset about how he was born. It depends on, his home birth didn't go quiet as he wanted to, probably. uh, Although it was fine, but definitely. Was elongated, and maybe he was angry about that. We don't know. And maybe there is no story. Maybe there is some discomfort. Do the best you can. Massage them to get the gas out, folding their legs, massaging their back, massaging their belly, being with them. But it's you who has to realize that the crying is needed. It's good for them to cry, not because it develops their lungs, but because they're crying. There is something going on. They need validation. They need to know that you're not trying to stop them from the expression. You're trying to meet their need. But if you don't find what their need is, then be honest. I don't know what you need, and I'm with you. I'm holding you, and you can cry as long as you need. I'm right here for you. That's the sense that the baby needs to get, that you are there no matter how hard he needs to scream. Because if you're giving him the message that you're trying to stop him all the time, but nothing that you do helps, then he's just getting the message, I'm not all right with her. She doesn't love me the way I am. She doesn't get it, that I just need to scream my head off right now. So to just really be with it, I didn't say it's easy, but what I would do in a session with you is go back into what's crying meant for you as a child, to what degree you could or couldn't express yourself, what pain associated with crying that's going on for you, so that we can work on that and release the grip of that so that you're not so easily triggered. Okay, I'm going to go until the end of the hour, so only a few more questions. Angelina, how a baby is made. Oh, you found the book, How a Baby is Made by Holm Knudsen. So everybody is seeing that under Angelina in her answer. Thank you, Angelina. Now, Marta has another question. How to deal? No, we did that one. Okay, so I need to scroll down now. Okay. Costas, our 2-year-old daughter, doesn't like to share her toys. Wonderful. And generally toys with other kids. Could you share any ideas on how to deal with this behavior? It's wonderful. She's learning from parents not to share. When is the last time you shared your house, your car, your money? I mean, your car has a whistle on it if, God forbid, anybody else touches it and tries to have it. So our children are growing up in a world where everything is mine, not yours. You don't touch, you go to somebody else's house, don't go into their fridge. It's theirs, it's not yours. You have to pay, when you go to a store, it's not yours. You take it, you have to pay for it. Of course, they don't want to share. They didn't grow up in a society where everybody shares. So answer number one is share. Share yourself, but respect her not wanting to share. So when children come to play with her, ask her before they come, what do you want to share, and play with them. Let's put that out and let's lock everything else. So we didn't have a lock we put the toys in this closet, and we put a thing. We tied the knobs together so it wouldn't be able to open, so that there wouldn't be any struggle. And then if they change their mind and the child is there and say, no, I actually don't want to share this, say, that's fine. You don't have to. and you put it aside and say, okay, want to play something else, and tell the mother of the other child to maybe bring some toys too, whatever they want to play together. And also have enough toys at home that are dependent on playing together. For example, you can't not share a ball. What would you do with a ball by yourself? Not much. So, yeah, you can have two balls. Maybe they want to just run after it if they're really little. But most of the time, children want to play ball. They throw it back and forth or do some specific games with it. So have ball, have Legos that are endless supply, blocks that are endless supply, and not so much a one-use item like your teddy bear or stuffed animals or a tricycle, unless you have a lot of them, like we had 3 or 4 scooters, so kids could come and everybody could use scooters, and we got a lot of bicycles too. But most of the time people have one tricycle, one bicycle, a scooter, and so maybe that's not what to play unless the other child bring their scooter as well, and they can play that way. But respect the need not to share, and the child will come of their own eventually to want to share, because they will have the experience, a good memory of sharing, of playing with stuff that they do want to share. And they will see you sharing your food, and they'll see you loaning your car to somebody. I doubt it, but every now and then, or a family member. So make sure they see that. Diane, my 8 years old son doesn't want son and doesn't have any opportunities to be around kids either. He doesn't want a brother, you mean? He doesn't want son? That's not clear. son. Um, to be around kids. That's all right. Just wait until he does. That's the simple answer. Or make sure there is a very positive experience of being with one other child older than him. Generally, children have good experience if the other child is more capable than them and allow them equal rights. So not a controller 12 years old, but a 12 years old who is mature enough to be able to play with an 8 years old and also see the 8 years old's limitations. So the play is really fun. So just give him good experiences with one other child. Groups are not so natural. I mean, in a tribe, children play together from age 20 till age 1. I mean, they're on the backs of the teenagers, and it's all ages. And a lot of homeschooling groups are like that, which is really wonderful. But the playing with kids, make sure it's not the same age. It's really difficult. But it is very important for children to be with other children and to play. So I would put an effort into getting that experience in a positive way, just starting with one child that's a little older, and gradually he will probably enjoy it and want it again. Amanda, how to best support hyper emotional sensitive 7 years old, cries real tears for for screams and rolls over when not having his, I don't know how to read that word, futile, or something that maybe you for futile issues. Screamer rolls over when not having his way, has fever whenever too much excitement, feels each touch as threat. Okay, so again, that would need a bigger session. I would need to know a lot more what's going on for him. But generally, I think a lot of parents can relate to a child can't handle not getting what he wants. That part, we train them to do that. And we train them at 2 months old. They point to something, not 2 months. They don't point yet. But few months old, they start pointing. They want something. And we give them whatever we want. They cry. We jingle. They scream. We give them what they want that we weren't going to give them. Or we compensate with something else. Oh, your banana is broke. Here, have this instead. Like you don't have enough. It's all right to give another banana, by the way. But but the point is that if it's all the time, if we have no tolerance for some crying that's real and authentic, you fell, you don't have to compensate. Your friend doesn't want to play with you. Grandma is leaving now and you're crying and crying. We don't have to compensate and make life better. Mommy went to the doctor. Daddy stays with at 2 years old. Let them cry. Be with them. Let them be all right with that you don't always get your way. Because it's not doing that that makes them feel like they can't handle not getting what they want. So they become, and that leads to the other sensitivity. It's like if I live my life, imagine I'm your child, and I live my life with everything I want. And this may not be the case for you. That's why I said you need to sort it in a session. But for many people, think about if a child lives their life, I can only live where everything I want always happens until age 1 or whatever. They actually don't develop the ability to know. I'm trying this and no, I can't have it happen. Fail. The tower breaks. Well, it breaks. It broke. Not build right away another one. Not, oh no, I'll do it for you. Or the paint spilled. Oh, I'll paint you another one. Or here is another, you can do the same again. All those kind of responses teach them to be, limit their ability to handle life, to dance in the storm. So that's why I say from the beginning, you don't want to teach your children to run away from discomfort. And it starts with discomfort. Don't put a coat on them when it's cold. They're not cold, and you're teaching them to seek this atmosphere comfort. Being cold is good for them. It's good for their immune system. Let them get into cold water. It's good for their immune system. Let the house not be so warm and so cozy and so comfortable always. Let them do something that causes some difficulty and discomfort, and don't praise them for doing things. But then, the getting fever over things, I wonder if it's part of what I'm saying, or whether it's so extreme now that he's developing an anxiety disorder. So that would be uh, a longer subject that maybe we can do in a private session. Um, Marta has another question. I just want to see if there's someone who didn't ask. Okay, Desiree. What are your thoughts on a 4-year-old child who, when they become disappointed or upset, say they need space and go to another room, but then never want to discuss the issue? I would ask where he learned that, because they usually don't come with this on their own. He does not feel safe to express feelings. And again, it's what I said before. Make sure you express feelings. Make sure you don't always behave well, because I'm really concerned for that child where he is, and I see that you are, that he's committed to being always looking so good. So there is a high degree of seeking approval. Maybe he's getting praise for being quiet, for being nice, for being accommodating. And he doesn't think there is room for him to be bad, nasty, icky, feel bad. So it may be not just about crying, but about other things too. Um, like, is he safe to be disappointed and really burst out crying? How would you respond? And I think from your question, you respond well, but somewhere, somehow, he still learned that he needs to be this good, strong, powerful boy. Especially as a boy, I usually guess they're learning it from daddy or from another male figure who said, somehow injects in the idea of be strong. And so look for sources and definitely expose him and make sure he knows it's really, really safe. And last one, I know there are a lot more, but it's 2:00. So I was going to do the class 1 hour, and I'm going for an hour and Well, I'll go a little more because talking about this coming question, Clara, can you talk about spanking children, managing our anger, frustration? So, absolutely not. Absolutely don't ever hurt a child. And I hear you, Clara, that sometimes you have hard time managing your feelings. That's all about you. That has nothing to do with the child. The child isn't causing it. And that's what understanding that is what can help you to not actually hurt the child. If you know something is happening to me right now, I am wrapped up in this feeling and I want to hurt him, I'm so angry. And you remind yourself this has nothing, zero, ever to do with the child. And take a pen and a paper, have those spread all over the house, and write the thought down that makes you angry. I'm angry because my child shouldn't be hitting his brother, or my child shouldn't be spilling the breaking the cake that I just made and making Play-Doh out of it, or my child shouldn't come into the house with muddy boots, or hurt me, or whatever, break my precious vase. Um, and when you write that thought, you do the work on it. You ask the question, is it true that he shouldn't be doing that, or that he should, whatever it is that you're saying. Um, and truth is reality. So if he broke the vase, then he should have broken the vase. So it's not true that he shouldn't, because the vase is broken. It's on the floor broken. He did break it, or the cake is on the floor all ruined. You worked at it for 2 days. It's ruined. It's gone. I mean, it's good for the cat or whatever. Um, so realizing that what causes your anger is never the child. What causes your anger is always your thought. You put the thought down and you ask yourself, is this really true? And then, even if you say yes, it's true, which you might say because the mind, it's not you, but the mind is quite tight and stubborn, it could be. Then you ask yourself, can I absolutely know that it's true? You give yourself a second chance. Is it really? I mean, does it fit reality? And reality is what it is. It is truth. If it's raining right now and I say it shouldn't rain, who is telling the truth? The rain does. It should rain because it's raining. It's that simple. He should break the vase because he broke it. It's broken. So then comes question number 3. How do you feel when you believe this thought and you encounter your anger? I feel angry. Ask yourself where in your body you feel it. Be in touch with yourself. Love yourself. Be connected to yourself. This is what's happening to me. Nothing to do with the child. The child is never the cause of your feelings. Never, ever. But you are not as to blame yourself. It's the machinery that you have for years. It's automated. Be compassionate toward the machinery. I say the mind is like a toddler. Be very gentle, very kind. Okay, I understand, little toddler, that you believe that my child shouldn't have broken the vase or hit his brother or whatever. So when I believe that he shouldn't, then I'm angry. When I realize that he should, I'm fine. So that's the next question. How would I be without the thought that he shouldn't? And you realize, oh, then it's a broken vase, or it's a crying sibling that I have to comfort. And there's no problem. It just look at already the result. Don't try to go back to the past and change and believe it should have been other than what it is. It is what it is in this moment. One child crying because the other one hit him. Your job is to calm down the crying one. Vase is broken. Your job is to get a broom and a dustpan, or glue if you think you can still put it together. The cake is all gone. Your job is either to tell everybody there won't be cake for dinner or make another one, whichever you prefer. That's responding to this moment. There is no anger ever in responding to reality as it is in this moment. Anger is wanting the past to be other than what it was. So then you turn it around. You realize without the thought, you're just fine. So then you do the turnaround. He should have broken the vase. And you find 3 reasons why he should have broken the vase. Because the vase was at arm's reach, because he was pulling on something else and the vase was there and got pulled off, because he's upset, and it's a great way, it's a great therapy to break things. Or whatever the issue is, you find you understand from his point of view. Then you can turn it around to yourself. I shouldn't have broken the vase, or I shouldn't have destroyed the cake. And that's much truer, and it doesn't hurt. Yeah, I didn't. So that's the truth, that I shouldn't, because I didn't. And I'm at peace with that. But being at peace with that the other person did it is very simple, not easy, but simple, when we ask ourselves the question and realize that the reason you're angry is you want to change the past and you blame the other force, the other power. It's just like being angry at the rain. I wanted to go to the beach and it's raining now. I can't go to the beach. I'm angry at the rain. Same thing. Whatever happens in life and whoever does it, be in the present. The result is already done. What do you want to do now? All right? How many of us are still here? Oh my God. We have more people. 43. So I bet those who still have questions here are dying to continue. Okay, I'll continue a little longer. Let me just see where I am, though. Where is the spanking one? Then there is another question from Ollie. Why 3.5 years old doesn't want or unsure of things like bicycle, balance, climbing, playing house and playground, and what to do, because in playground we can't do anything like other kids do. Okay, I love this question. Very good. So maybe we will end with that one, or maybe we'll do one more after. So children, the most important thing about the child is to be rooted in himself. So the child who wants to sleep with you, independence is sleeping with you, because it's doing his choice. He goes to the playground. He doesn't want to do these things. That's his choice. He will do them in time. Believe me. He doesn't need to be rushed. Doesn't have to go to the playground. But if he goes to the playground, I don't know what he does. Does he play in the sand? Does he do other things? He doesn't have to play with the other children what they are doing, because you need to help him feel that his choice is right, not wrong. And that's really extremely crucial. It relates to another thing that I want to touch really, just in case you do that. If you said to a child often, be careful about things, he would tend to be more careful and be more afraid at the playground. I don't know if you did that. You may have not. It may be just this child development. But because there are many other parents here, I just want to be sure that don't tell children, be careful. Either don't take them to a place that they can't handle, so that there is no being careful. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't fall. But if you see that something is slippery, you can tell him it's slippery over there, or it's muddy. But don't tell them that they can fall or that it's unsafe. Or, the street, yeah, is unsafe. You can say that, but hold them. But if you don't take them, if you take them to places that are within their ability or that they can choose, so in this case, he goes to a playground, he chooses to play in the sand, or to touch the stairs, or to go 2 stairs up. That's fine. That's his choice. What he's learning is I can trust myself to do what I know I can do. So here we have a lot of beaches where I go, and my children used to climb rocks or cliffs by the beach. And my rule was very simple. I do not put a child on a rock that they couldn't have climbed on. If they get on a rock because they climbed it and can't go down, which happens, and ask me to pull them down, I help them down. Hopefully, they do it and I help them. Sometimes, if it's a 1.5 years old, sometimes they're amazing. They can climb something and there's nowhere they can come down. I would take them down, but don't let them think my judgment of what I can do is wrong. Definitely not. And when he'll play with other kids that are doing that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And another suggestion is maybe in your own yard, if you have a yard, build something that he can do, even in the house. Children sometimes build, take a mattress and lean it off the desk, and you can slide on that into something soft. Have a little bouncer, trampoline thing. Bring a small ladder that he can climb and jump off of into a mattress. So create a playground that's much easier to give opportunity to work with it. But don't give him at all a feeling either that something is dangerous or that he has to learn to do that. Absolutely not necessary. And don't warn children that they're going to fall if they do this or that, because then they fall simply because you told them and become more afraid. But give them information. It's slippery over here, or don't take them to a place that isn't safe for them as much as possible. Obviously, it's not always possible. Okay. So I'm going to take Catalina's clapping symbol to end this call. And Catalina, thank you. She says, so beautiful to listen to you, dear Naomi. Thank you so much. And I would take those beautiful words as from everybody. And I thank you too. I wouldn't be here without you. I'll try to do something like this once in a while. It may not stay free. It takes a lot of work for me to put it together and actually costs me money to set it up. So, but I've learned now the technology. So hopefully next time it's not problematic at the beginning. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. And do set up private sessions if you need to work more thoroughly. Those are the most helpful. And the family intensive is too. But I'll try, with COVID and everything, to offer things online soon again. Bye.